Do you want to learn how to write like Taylor Swift? Leave in the comments if you have someone else you want me to teach you how to write like. But Taylor Swift, I think is interesting, and I think this is the main takeaway you should take from writers is writers don't write, they live and then they write. They live like their writing does. What does that mean? It means Taylor Swift's writing starts on the date. It does not start when she starts picking up her pen, or let's be realistic, her phone. It doesn't start then. It starts with how present is she? How much coffee did she drink now? How present is she? She's extremely present. But she has mastered something really well, which is the duality of being present with someone else and acknowledging her feelings in hindsight. Because you can always figure out how you used to feel or how something would probably make you feel at the time. But what most people are not good at, and that's why most people cannot write well, there I said it, is presence. You're there. And that's 100% of Lord Byron's appeal. Unfortunately, he's not a very moral character. But that's all of his appeal, is that he is there with you, he's looking at you, he's pointing out every single individual little dot on your face, on this, on that. That is his power. And that is also Taylor Swift and most really good writers is presence if they're writing about their own life. Because if you're not there, if you're like, you remind me of this, you did this, and you can remind them a little bit of something, you can be reminded of something. If someone reminds you of your dad, you're not like, scratch that out. No. But there is a power to being present, to being in the moment. That is honestly very useful in almost all of life. Very few endeavors in life are like, you know what we want from you? To not be present at all. Just like disappear. That would be weird. Of course you have to be present. But that's one, presence. The acknowledgement of her feelings. And describing it. Now, describing is important. And I've given this example, I think, before. If not, then it's the first time around. Which is, how do you gossip? Now, of course, don't gossip. Gossip is not good. I agree. Spreading rumors, horrible thing. I'm more so saying, how do you describe life? If you have a weird woman that got a weird coffee order, I'll give you my example. There was this one woman at Starbucks once who was like shouting because she didn't get her coffee order, the correct one. She came to the Starbucks. She had ordered the Starbucks and then she came there, which made me think, so you were close enough to just go get it, but anyways, sometimes I'm lazy too. And she comes there, guns blazing, blah, 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 like really shouting. Everyone's like, and the funny part, a little bit funny, is like her face doesn't move because it doesn't move anymore because of her personal choices. And so you see someone really angry, really loud, but you're like, the face is not computing, you can't explain it. When she shouts at everyone, she's rude. So where did I focus? I mentioned how someone looks. I've always had this in my writing. I'm like, you need to mention how they look. Not everyone can be a floating head. So I mentioned how she looked, but most of my focus is on her behavior. Someone else would be like her dress, and you can tell a lot. This is not shallow. You can tell a lot by other senses. Let's look up the 5 senses and let's explain them. So let's try if I remember them by heart. Smell. The perfume, the coffee shop in general, the people near her, the wind. How does the wind smell? Does the wind have a smell of something or of the sort? Then, next one. Smell, touch, how everything felt. So not that I touched her, but the texture the texture of her dress. Is it appropriate for the weather? These kind of things. That's where I could have focused. I don't remember the dress anymore. And it's even good if you have like a story you tell it for a couple months. I know this is a long-winded thing, and see what you still remember, because maybe at the beginning I still remembered what she looked like, but now I have no idea outside of the fact that like her face didn't move, and I only remembered that because I was like, oh, that's a little robot like. But wait, smell, touch, taste, the taste of your coffee, how you think her coffee tasted, smell, taste, touch, cite what everything looked like her look could have been really important. Like her dress could have been from somewhere, and her does she have a lot of money? Does she not? Does she pretend to have a lot of money? There's some index clues that for someone is interesting. And what is the fifth one? Oh, hearing. Well, that one I touched on quite a bit. I didn't even look it up. I was like, oh right, I remember. So that is the beauty of a writer and a poet and a poem and a songwriter, is they live their art. That's how they live. They don't turn it off, which is maybe a little bit annoying, because I will indeed tell the same story 3,000 times. And then people who like that I'm a writer are like, and I'm like, you like the fact that I write, but then when I do what I do without a pen, you're like, ah. To be fair, I also prefer to do it with a pen, but I hope that helped, and we'll keep this art course going.